Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else who you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. We're going to start off by going over a couple of different events that are coming up soon, but then we're going to finish this update with a couple of heads up on some things that are going to be appearing before the City Council's agenda that my administration has submitted to the City Clerk's office for their consideration beginning this Monday. I do anticipate a lot of it is going to be referred out to the various subcommittees that are there, but just to give you a heads up on things that are going on here in City Hall each and every day, and particularly what's just around the corner. But we want to start off by reminding people that next week, April 2nd through April 5th, is yard waste pickup, the first one of the year. So make sure that if you do have yard waste bags or bundles or whatever that fits, and those requirements as to how they have to be packaged can be found on the Health Department's website and social media platforms, you get those out on your regular trash collection day to make sure that you are included in the yard waste collection pickup next week. With April just around the corner as well, we want to remind people that National Library Week is April 7th through 13th. So we want to remind people to get out and enjoy the very fantastic library that we have here with our new director, Stephanie Young. The Gardner Public Library, Levi Haywood Memorial Library, has always been very involved as a community partner here in Gardner. So if you haven't been to the library recently, think about going back and seeing how things are and the different changes that have been made, and just pull a book and sit down and relax for a little bit. It's a great resource that we have here in the community. On April 17th, we'll have our Health and Wellness Fair. That's a Wednesday here at Gardner City Hall and Perry Auditorium. And again, that'll go April 17th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Over 50 vendors and resource tables have registered for the event, and it includes free raffles drawn every 30 minutes between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. There are fun activities for the whole family and free refreshments. And as a reminder, there's free transportation provided by MART buses to the event as well. Later on in the month, on April 27th, we'll have our annual Purple Paw Walk fundraising event at 9:30 a.m. at Pulaski Park's Dog Park over at 2 Charbonneau Street. This is the second year that we've had this in a row here, and I want to thank Bernice Richard from the Voices of Truth and the Gardner Domestic Violence Task Force and our City Prevention Coordinator, Veronica Patty, for all the work that they're doing in getting this event going on. This is a fundraiser to help victims of domestic violence find places to help watch their pets, that if they need to leave a situation, they're able to put their pets in a very safe kennel environment. That way they're not hesitant to remove themselves from a violent situation because they're worried about their pets and the pets being left behind. So this is really an important event that I'm glad we'll be able to continue here in Gardner. April is also the month where we celebrate National Small Business Week. This week will take place on April 28th through May 4th. The city is fortunate to have several variety of small businesses, old and some very new. So make sure you go out and support our local businesses and shops citywide in the downtown area, and really help those who help give back to the community each and every day by the investments they make in their local businesses. We want to remind people too that if you are a senior citizen over the age of 50 by state law, you are eligible to take part in the services that we offer at the Gardner Senior Center, though, as Director Ellis likes to constantly say, we don't check IDs at the door. However, the reason why we're saying this now is actually the city gets money from the state for each and every individual who enters the Senior Center. So we actually get a certain amount of dollars per each time someone enters the building to utilize the Senior Center that goes towards our operating budget every year. So if we want to be able to grow and expand what we have to offer at the Senior Center, the best way to do that is actually get people in its doors. Now that not only helps us obtain feedback from individuals who are using these services, but also allows us to then get that funding so that we can implement the changes that come as a result of that feedback. So we want to let you know again, even if you don't feel like a senior, because that's okay. If you are 50 years and older, we do offer several variety of services from, everyone always knows about the bingo and the bread raffles and the meals that are there, but there's a whole other slew of services that are there that are available to be seen on the city's website, on the Senior Center page there. And I want to thank Mike Ellis, Nancy, and Berman, the staff over at the Gardner Senior Center, for the work that they do each and every day. The city and Woods Ambulance have partnered to conduct a transportation survey here in the city, and it's available online from Woods Ambulance. But we'd like to see how many people from Gardner are traveling each and every day to the Wachusett train station at the border between Fitchburg and Westminster to see if we can work with Woods Ambulance's new Swift Ride Woods Plus, the non-medical transportation they service. They do to have a regular ride back and forth from the Wachusett train station. Right now, the Woods Ambulance Swift Ride program only does Gardner to Gardner transportation, and we're seeing if the demand is there to do those Gardner to Wachusett train station rides back and forth. So if you are able to, we're asking you to kindly please fill out that survey by contacting Woods Ambulance through their non-emergency medical phone number if you're calling, but it's available on their Facebook page and their website. Again, just a good way for us to gauge if the interest is even there and for the service to be worth going forward or not. The Gardner Museum on Thursday, April 4th, is having their survival and knife safety classes. Tim Swanson, founder of Owl Eyes Wilderness Survival, seeks to empower, inspire, and connect people of all backgrounds to nature. He'll talk about safety and teach a fire starting project. Attendants will make their own feather sticks. Tim's knives, knife sharpeners, fire starters, patches, t-shirts, and hats will also be available for purchase at the event. The museum is located at 28 Pearl Street and can be reached at 978-632-3277. So that concludes our big updates that we have in terms of events that are coming up here in Gardner. This upcoming City Council's agenda is sure to be actually pretty packed. I don't expect it to be too long of a meeting because I expect some of it will just be, most of it actually will be referred out to the different committees that the City Council has. But I just want to give you a quick rundown of some of the things that are on there. We finished some of our union negotiations with some of our city employees, and those contracts are going to be going to the City Council so that they can see those. At their meeting, those will be in the packet. For the fourth year in a row, the city received a perfect audit score on both our state audit, which is required. And what I mean by state audit, the state requires us to hire an outside auditing firm to do a full look at the city's financial statements annually. This is the fourth year in a row we have had no findings and had a clean audit report. Additionally, this is also the fourth year in a row that we have had a clean audit report on our federal audit that just came back this past week too. So notifications are going to the City Council on those, but I want to thank our finance team while we're here, especially our city auditor, John Richard. It's not often you get 4 years in a row of a clean audit report with no findings and suggestions being made. So I want to thank John Richard for the work that he does, again, 4 years in a row. The non-union salary survey for our non-union employees is being released as a part of the council's packet. There's different grants that the city's received that we're providing updates on. And a couple of these mayor's update videos, we've talked about the parking meter feedback that we've received. So far, the feedback we've received has been overwhelmingly, surprisingly overwhelmingly, in support of replacing the parking meters themselves with parking meters and not kiosks. So a brief update is being sent to the City Council as to where that stands. Additionally, there's an appropriation request from everything from new police vehicles to the tree removal account, so we can go through and lower the backlog of trees that have been tagged from previous tree hearings that have been held. There's matches for the water transmission line project. You remember that a couple years ago we received a $1 million earmark from the federal government as a grant to replace the water transmission line. That work is set to begin this summer. The bids came in and we were just a little over budget on the bids, so the appropriation to get us the remaining way above and beyond what the grant covers to the full cost of the project is before the City Council as well. Removing the police department from civil service. We did this as a home rule petition a couple years ago, and then we were notified that we didn't need to go the home rule petition route, so it just needs another vote of the City Council. That's going before them at this meeting. The vote to petition the legislature to let us use Waterford Street School for something other than educational purposes back in the 1950s. The House, Senate, and Governor allowed the city to utilize part of the land that Wilder Field sits on to build Waterford Street School for educational purposes. However, the Public Lands Protection Act requires that the city go forward and petition the legislature to use the land and the building for something other than educational purposes, because that's what the state legislature back in the 1950s allowed the city to use it as. And again, obviously, if we're building our new community center there, it's not going to be for public school related purposes. So the bill to request that the state allow us to use it for what's called general municipal purposes, where we can lease it out for whatever the city deems is the best interest of the city at the time, is going before the city council for their vote on Monday as well. And then at my inaugural address earlier this year, I talked about how we were looking to increase our solar canopy across the city through our solar infrastructure. Several proposals to lease the roofs of several of our municipal buildings and the air rights over the Knowlton Street parking lot to install a new solar canopy are going before the city council for their first review. Any results that come from that after the land and the roofs are declared surplus would then have to come back before the city council, who would have to approve the final lease payments and then payment in lieu of taxes. Solar panels are exempt from excise taxes, but they pay what's called a payment in lieu of taxes because it's based on the depreciating value of the solar panels over the course of 20 years. So all of that will be before the city council this coming Monday. It's going to be a jam-packed agenda, but again, I think a lot of it's going to be drawn out over the next couple of meetings just because it's being studied and reviewed by different councilors. But I just want to give you a heads up on some of the things that we're working on here. So it's not just these updates that you just get, oh, this is happening here and this is happening here, but you actually see what we're doing here in City Hall on a weekly basis for you all. That said, I want to end by wishing all who celebrate a very happy and blessed Easter this weekend, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you very much, and have a great day.